we would go to the extreme of wanting entire societies to be addicted to opiates or opioids just to get a leg up. And he said, yeah, but don't you think that's what the Chinese do to us with fentanyl? You know, it's
right. I was just about to say the same question.
And the answer is absolutely yes. He's right. He's right. This is what the Chinese do to us. They send fentanyl to the United States, or they manufacture it in Mexico and have it smuggled to us because it makes us weaker as a society. It's exactly the same thing that we were doing to the Russians and the Iranians. I spoke recently on a podcast about narcotics in Afghanistan, which did fall under my purview. It wasn't just South America and Central America.
And tell me more about that. Because I know during our time in Afghanistan, there was a lot of poppy fields. I spent some time in Afghanistan. There was poppy fields. We know that's a big percentage of the heroin that goes, is coming from those fields that's or whatnot. Right. So tell me more about that.
I didn't pay close attention to it until I went to the Senate Foreign Relations Committee. There were a couple of DEA guys that reached out to me saying, hey, you got to help us on poppy cultivation in Afghanistan. This is a real problem. And I said, okay, I'll look into it. So I told Kerry I was going to fly out to Afghanistan and do an investigation of poppy cultivation. I went out there. The military did not like the idea, not even a little bit. But I arrived at Bagram Air Base, which was, just outside Kabul, not too far outside Kabul. And I said that I had cabled in advance. I didn't just show up one day, right? So I said, we need to go to Kandahar and we need to go to Lashkar Gah, which is the capital of Helmand province. They said, absolutely not. I said, oh, absolutely yes. And, this is one thing that I never, ever did in my career, is I never pulled rank on somebody. But if you're a senior staff member of a congressional committee, you have the rank of a brigadier general. So this was the only time I ever pulled that card. And I said, no, I'm telling you, we're going to Kandahar and Lashkar Gah. So we got in a helicopter and we went to Kandahar, had some meetings, went to Lashkar Gah. Lashkar Gah was a lot tougher than Kandahar. So you're in this, it's called a PRT, a provisional reconstruction team is what it stands for. So it's technically headed by the State Department, but they've got like a State Department guy, two Pentagon guys, a DEA guy, maybe CIA, maybe not CIA, depending on the PRT. But it's very small. It's hard to protect, and it's in the middle of the most hostile territory in the country. So we helicopter in. You have to go in a corkscrew to land so that you don't get hit by somebody firing a shoulder-fired rocket. So we land in, and I get out, and I had a translator with me. I don't speak Pashto, so I said that I was there to do a study on poppy cultivation. I want to go into the poppy fields. They said, absolutely not. It's too dangerous. We don't have the ability to protect you. I said, nope, let's go. So we got in a couple of Jeeps, security, my translator. We go out into the poppy fields. Sure enough, we see a poppy farmer. So I go up to him. We drive up, and I said to him through the translator, it was a very stupid question that I asked him. I said, why do you grow poppy when instead you can grow things with two ripening cycles, right? You can grow tomatoes, onions, pomegranates. And he goes like this. He goes, the Americans told me in 2001 that if I told them where the Arabs were, I could grow all the poppy I wanted. And I said, what American told you could grow poppy? And as soon as I said it, the military guys are like, meeting over, we're getting out of here. They pull me back to the Jeep and we fly out. So I write this up when I get back to Capitol Hill. And I send it to these two guys, whistleblowers, I would call them, because they did this unofficially from DEA. And one of them called me and said, you're never going to get this published. And I said, why not? And he said, because Afghanistan produces 93% of the world's heroin. And almost all of that heroin goes to Russia and Iran. Our heroin comes from Mexico, from Colombia, from Ecuador. He said, all of that 93% of the world's heroin goes to Russia and Iran. And we want them to be addicted to heroin. It makes their societies weaker. And he was right. I never got it published. Kerry wouldn't approve it. The agency was furious that I went out there and pulled rank on those guys. So never was published. But because it was never published, I was never able to classify it. And so it's unclassified. You know, John going to Afghanistan and asking a poppy farmer a question, that's not classified. So there it is. And, you know, I said this to an agency friend of mine one time, and it's apples and oranges, but it's a good point that he brought it up, and I'll raise it with you. I was saying, you know, this is terrible that we would go to the extreme of wanting entire societies to be addicted to opiates or opioids just to get a leg up. And he said, yeah, but don't you think that's what the Chinese do to us with fentanyl? You know, it's
right. I was just about to say the same question.
And the answer is absolutely yes. He's right. He's right. This is what the Chinese do to us. They send fentanyl to the United States, or they manufacture it in Mexico and have it smuggled to us because it makes us weaker as a society. It's exactly the same thing that we were doing to the Russians and the Iranians.
My goodness. Yeah, that's an interesting. And is that just from your observation in the Middle East, we allow it to continue because of that?
Yes. If it makes the CIA's job easier for Russians to have a heroin problem, God bless. Good luck to them.
What's going on, y'all? I'm not sure if you know this, but Borderland Narcosis is sponsored by First Form. First Form is a wellness supplement company. And, I've been with them for about 7 years. And I've been with them for that long because I truly believe in not just the product, but the people who own the company. They are a culture that just believes in your health. And so if you guys haven't tried it before, I would recommend you go and check out the Formula One Cinnamon Toast Crunch. Add a little bit of a ignition to that, and you'll have exactly what you need for your post-workout drink. This is something I've used for a very long time. When I'm in the best shape of my life, it's always been because I have a nice regimen of the First Form products. So if you guys are interested, go check them out at firstform.com/Borderland. Okay, use our link. It is the #1 stphorm.com/Borderland. And if you order over $75, you get free shipping. And if you're new to the site, you get a free app for 30 days. So go check it out. Again, thank you so much for all the support. See you soon.